Good evening.
Hello.
The expo hall is torn down. The auction hasn't started yet. It's blowing a damn gale outside, so there's really only one place to be. And we're so glad you're all here with us. Welcome to the Saturday evening lightning talks.
The best part of the conference, if you ask me.
One of the top 4 best parts of the conference, along with the other 3 lightning talk sessions. I'm Christopher Neugebauer. This is Christian Morera Fredes.
So it will be very confusing for the person writing there because they will have a Chris and Christian, so you will judge if everything is fine or not.
Get on with it, Amanda.
They will manage, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Fine. Okay, so up first today, we have Durbin, and do you know what time it is?
It's PyCon US time. So first, thank you to the Lightning Talk folks for accepting my talk so quickly. I really thought that you were going to wait, but it was like immediate. So thank you. And also thanks for putting me first so I can go and help prepare the auction. I'm E, and I work for the Python Software Foundation. And it truly is one of the most important times of my year. It's PyCon US time. Every day, I'm lucky to work on things like PyPI, Python.org, and a whole lot of other things. But most relevant to this conference is PyCon US. Up until this year, I've been the person behind all of the PyCon US tech. More recently, and thankfully, I'm just the lead. Shout out to Jacob Coffey, who recently joined as a PSF infrastructure engineer. He's been super helpful this week and has made PyCon way more fun for me this year. So today I actually want to talk about the tech behind PyCon US and a way to make it better, which is maybe more tech than you think, and it has one major pain. So PyCon US is a website, it's a database, a mobile app, Raspberry Pis, iPads, whatever this is, and my precious zebras. And they all need to agree on time zones. 2, apparently. So I guess the lights don't like those either. So sadly, PyCon US will be coming to a close sooner than any of us wish. And it will no longer be PyCon US time, which is sad. But that got me thinking. So let's look at some code. So as you can see here, we have a lot of time zone handling in our code. Much of it to do with like the precise time zone. So no, that was supposed to be this slide. But as you can see, we are hard coding the current time zone throughout our Python, Django, and JavaScript, and the mobile app. And this summer, Jacob and I are going to have to update all of those carefully. Just like my wonderful coworkers have had to be careful all year with shit like this. But what if it was the last time? And what if that meant it could be PyCon US time all year? So PyCon US has a place, a UTC offset, and that UTC offset transitions in a definitive way that can be explicitly expressed. Someone must have solved this. That's a time zone. What if we had a time zone? So over the last few days, I've been talking to people around, and at about 3:30 this morning, I saw what it would take. This is it. It's esoteric, but surprisingly easy to define. And wildly, I typed it correctly on the first go, compiled it, and it worked. So this is great. And this would genuinely solve a technical problem, would make my life materially better, would make my dear coworkers' lives better, and it would make it easier to communicate deadlines and schedules to attendees, precisely what time zones are intended for. Now, I could take time to learn how to deploy this to my one-off time zone file, to Docker containers, Postgres, databases, iPads, whatever that was, and my precious zebras. But that's solved too. So now, in full hubris, I have officially submitted this proposal to the time zone coordinators with sincerity. But here's the summary. So PyCon US time is defined to be the local time of the city currently hosting the conference. PyCon US time transitions at the time that the last attendee, Larry Hastings most often, departs the development sprints. We are actively working to improve the historic times for this departure, but estimate 8 p.m. local time for years, which we have not fully verified. And we really have. I called on the odd fellows of PyCon US chairs past, and we have now established with certainty the transition times for Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So thank you. I am E. This is my website. Please go there. I have some fun weirdware like Scan City and Amtrak.live that I would love for you to check out. And that's it. I really appreciate all of you being here, and I appreciate PyCon.
Thank you very much. It was a great talk. And talking about time, how many people here know Black Python devs? Raise your hand. More people, more hands. I was expecting more hands, but now I will leave to Ye so you can show us what happened in the last 1.25 years.
Oh, I'm not going to tell them what we did in the last 1.25 years. I'm trying to tell you what you can actually accomplish in the next 1.25 years, because saying the number 15 just doesn't sound as short. So you could sponsor 9, actually 12 events in 1 year with a single donation. And you could also sponsor a workshop in a very small region in Nigeria for the very first time. You could also sponsor things like leadership summits where we help identify, address, and prevent leader burnout by gathering together for good barbecue food and a nice farmer's market, and ultimately some amazing conversation with leaders from both the Black Python devs community and more. You can also help us by identifying and pointing out amazing regional leaders who are absolutely phenomenal at what they do and have as much power and ability to do excellent things as I do. In fact, our entire booth this year was ran by our North American executor, Elizeche Ford, which I just want to give him a quick hand. This was his first time organizing and running a booth, and he did it successfully with no attempts. But again, you could do the same thing too. 1.25 years doesn't feel like a lot of time, and that's because in reality it isn't. And 1.25 years is the amount of time that Black Python devs normally has in funding if we receive 0 funds from that point on. So while it looks like we can do so many things, I would like to think, what more could we do in 1.25 years with your support? So I'm going to ask you now to go to blackpythondevs.com/support. And then you can say, I got to do all these things. And of course, if you don't want to support financially, you can always email me at leadership@blackpythondevs.com. That way you can show us new ways and new things that we can do. But lastly, if you feel like blackpythondevs.com isn't the best use case for your money, I know of a few other organizations that would love to do a lot of things in 1.25 years as well. So if you're not giving to us, consider giving to them. And then lastly, I would love to say that if we did all of these things, it would be amazing to see what Python could do in 1.25 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Black Python Devs is doing incredible work. You should definitely take him up on his offer to help Python do stuff in 1.25 years. Donate. And up next, we have Georgi, who is going to talk about something completely different.
Hello. Thanks, E, for the suggestion. It works really well. Yeah, so, well, PyCon is amazing. We meet a lot of friends, we get to meet each year, and we start to say, we get so enthusiastic over everything that we're doing. And how hard can it be? What happens when we have a couple of serial conference organizers coming together? You get really excited, you say, yeah, we can do something even better, and you know what, we can join our forces and we can create something new. So that was what happened. We said we are going to create the best possible event for PyLadies. So the first year we tried, we said, we don't have enough time, let's try it again. Second year we tried, still not enough time. Then by the third time we met, we said, we have to do it. We need to serve the global community, and how hard can that be? We are so good, right? But yeah, you've done like 5 PyCons. Well, I did 3, you did 5, you did 4. Combined, it's more than 10, so we can do it. And we thought like, okay, earth, wind, fire, and by the powers combined, Captain Planet. Well, yeah, that's a little bit like that at the beginning. So we started to talk about like, what are we going to do? Choosing the right platform. It's a global community. We need to find a solution. So we said, let's do it online. So online, we started off with Hublot, and then Hublot, we realized that there are some restriction, and then we started to move on. And this year we did, last year we did with Discord. Then we talk about languages. So we are talking about global. How are we going to serve the global community? And that was when we actually started coming out with solutions of allowing every person to submit your talks in the language that you prefer. So if you feel that you are more confident in Japanese, you can speak in Japanese. If you feel that you're more confident in French, you can speak in French. Then this is the interesting part. Time zone. Oh, it works. Okay. So choosing the right time zone, we are like, that's the hardest part. So we thought, let's do it 24 hours. 1 full day, just a little bit like the previous Pyjamas. Anybody attended Pyjamas before? Yeah, I see a few, yep. So it's a 24-hour event live. And we say we have a couple of us who comes from different time zone. We can do that. And then the right format, which is online. And of course, the right support, which is getting supporters, sponsors. And to help more PyLadies, because we have more than 350 chapters. And choosing the right team. And there you go, we have PyLadies Con. In 2023, we have more than 600 attendees, and we have more than 50 talks. Well, actually, in reality, the CFP, we have a lot more than that, but we couldn't accommodate to that. And this is the snapshot of the team in the first year. At the end of the event, you can see that our eyes were horizontal because we realized that it's not really that easy. We need sleep. And 2024, we have 700 attendees and still more than 50 talks. Now, it's coming to 2025. Our 3rd edition is here. It's happening on 5th to 7th of December, but all these takes effort and money. Well, we have to start from zero again, which is, our goal here is $15,000. So we are just here to reach out to anyone who can see that. You can help us if you want to volunteer, if you want to be part of the event, if you want to sponsor, scan this, and we'll have all your data. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgi. Yes, it's a really good conference. Please, all, if you want to help, join PyLadiesCon. So the next talk is by someone that might be known by many, but the words of the title or the things that you were talking about are a bit confusing. So let's give it a welcome to Anthony Sottile.
Hello, I'm Anthony Sottile. You might know me from my YouTube channel as I am Mr. Anthony Writes Code. That's my new last name. Or from Precommit, or from any of the other things that I do on GitHub. Today's presentation is going to be a bit of a pet peeve of mine, a Pythonic pronunciation presentation, and participation is welcome but not required. Are you ready? Pi. Okay, doing well so far, thank you. Pi. P. Not peas. I. PyPI. And we have a little bonus. Python 3.14 is coming out soon, so this will be Python Pi. And in the future, when PyPI catches up, we will have PyPI. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's always great to get a bit of audience participation, especially this late in the evening. Keeps everyone awake a bit. So on this side of the stage, we had a talk about time zones. And then we had a talk about someone doing stuff with time zones. And now we have Molly, who is going to talk about something else that's contentious.
Not time zones, though. Do I start? Yeah. Great. So these are some of my potentially divisive opinions about codes of conduct. I really hope I spelled divisive right in that slide. I've been doing code of conduct stuff for about 10 years, which is why I think you should listen to me right now. Also because I'm standing on the stage and using the microphone. So in 2004-ish, the Ubuntu Code of Conduct, they adopted kind of the first one. 2010, the conference anti-harassment policy was created. 2011, Ohio Linux Fest started having requirements for speakers. In 2013, the Citizen Code of Conduct was created. That was, in my opinion, the first real white label code of conduct for free and open source software community. And in 2014, we have the Contributor Covenant, which I hope at least many of you are familiar with because you probably contribute to projects or participate in communities that use it or some derivation of it. Here's the thing. Here's a list of some early code of conduct authors and advocates. Looking at this list, especially if you know any of them, you might notice a few things. Most of them live in North America. Most of them, in fact, live on coasts in North America. Many of them look like me in some ways. Like, you know, in the summer, I go from being translucent to simply pale. So these are some of the things that we have in common. And one of the biggest things we have in common is that we share a bunch of the same ideals and values. So what that means is that the codes of conduct were actually created by a very small demographic sliver of the global FOSS community. They are reflecting the values of only a few people who really do agree with each other most of the time on most of the issues. What this looks like is ends up with a bunch of people telling everybody that they should be using the same codes of conduct. You know, a white label code of conduct is really, really great, you know, and having similar codes of conduct across FOSS communities is so important because it means as you move from community to community, you kind of already understand what's expected of you and what you should be doing. Now, the problem with telling everyone to use the same codes of conduct is that they were written by a fairly small sliver of the global FOSS community who share the same ideals, and that doesn't really reflect the entire global FOSS community or what's possible for them. So I'm going to give a quick case study on supporting trans community members. Let's say you have a project, like an umbrella organization, maybe a 501c3 foundation who says, okay, you know, we've adopted this one code of conduct. All of our derivative projects also need to use it. Maybe that, you know, if it's an organization, and especially if it's a US-based organization, that means that that draft policy was reviewed by a lawyer. Translating it into other languages might be particularly hard, or the language used in it might just be difficult for somebody to understand. Another thing in terms of trans community members is like, you know, a number of countries still have anti-trans laws in various forms. And a community that is choosing to adopt like a FOSS code of conduct that mirrors like the general principles of the FOSS community might end up in difficulties in their local situations because they are explicitly going out to welcome a community and a group of people and a demographic of people who are considered by the nation, like by the state, people who should not exist or have rights. We don't like that, just quick aside. And so one of the things you'll see about codes of conduct is like they really require change, and change can be really hard. Adopting one in the first place is hard. Getting a community to adopt something new, getting a new set of values put in a place that doesn't welcome them, outside of the little bubble within that space can be really, really hard. And you know, change takes generations. I think it's really impressive that in the 20 years since the first code of conduct started, they've become standard, basically, across all sorts of technology and FOSS projects. And something that I actually think is really, really lovely is because you see these shared codes of conduct, you're seeing these shared values that are my values, so I think they're good values, spreading across the world and spreading across the community. And we're seeing all these really lovely things happen and more people showing up who I want to be here and people I want to spend time with and learn from. But this takes generations, right? This takes generations within FOSS. But what's really cool is that we're here to make changes, right? That's like our whole shtick. We're here to change the world with technology and community and other cool stuff. So we're doing better than we were before, and we're going to keep doing better in the future.
Thank you very much, Molly. It's a very insightful talk. Good. So the next talk is a very interesting application of Python, in my opinion. So let's give a round of applause to Anjali.
So hi, I'm Anjali, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why you, as a Pythonista and as a human, might care about the love of my life, MRI. I recently joined an MRI startup called Wijaya, but they don't know that I'm giving this talk. Thank you. By MRI, I do mean the medical imaging modality. How many of you have had an MRI? Okay, seems like a decent percent. MRI scanners themselves are between 1.5 to 3 Tesla, making them about 1,000 times as strong as a fridge magnet. They also cost about $1 million per Tesla, so we'll say about 2 million total. But there are reasons why we want MRIs despite their expense. They're safe because they produce no ionizing radiation, and they're versatile. They can produce images of muscles and tendons, brain connectivity, blood flow, and more, all without the injection of any contrast agent. So how does MRI work? The scanner is programmed to play out certain sequences of pulses along its electric and magnetic fields. These pulse sequences are used to acquire raw data, which doesn't look like an image at all. And then we use magic, or a Fourier transform, to reconstruct the MRI. So, hey presto, we have images. So what's the problem? We always want to make scans faster, more comfortable for patients, with better quality images. For that, we want to change the acquisition. Replace these waveforms with something different. Whoops. But MRI scanners are usually programmed using 3 different proprietary C-based languages corresponding to 3 different manufacturers with about 30 years worth of accumulated spaghetti code. You know what isn't good for prototyping? Proprietary C-based languages with 30 years of accumulated code. You know what is good for prototyping? Python. So here's an open source Python package for that. But if we change the acquired data, for example, by acquiring only half of the data in order to make the scan twice as fast, we have to change the image reconstruction as well. A simple Fourier transform won't work anymore, and we need slightly fancier math. And you know what's great for matrix math? Python, possibly backed by NumPy. And so here's a package for that. And as a slight side note, this package was actually the reason why I first learned Python. So that's one set of problems. But here's another. There's this really significant backlog of images. For example, Hawaii hospital has more than 8,000. And then, for example, for cardiac MRI, the majority of hospitals and imaging centers report patient wait times of up to 3 months. Personally, if I ever have chest pain, I want my MRI before I drop dead from a heart attack. So why is this? Turns out for cardiac images in particular, planning the scan planes is kind of complicated. And there's already a shortage of MRI technicians in general to run the scans in general, and now we need extra training for some techs in order to be able to run these, cardiac scans. But you know what is really good at figuring out random scan planes? And AI. And the language for AI is Python. So yes, we want our human to be taking care of the patients. And we can have our AI in Python doing these tasks. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you very much, Anjali. So how many people here submitted a lightning talk for this session right here? It's not as many people as submitted for this session. We got 58 submissions for this, so it was really hard to pick all the talks that we're having today. So this is one of the lucky 13. What is Michael going to talk to us about? I don't know, he'll tell us.
Yes, thank you so much. So, my name is Michael. I am a pilot, and can you tell me exactly how you can tell if someone is a pilot? They tell you. Exactly. So, today I'm going to tell you how to read the weather like a pilot. Now, I'm assuming that most of you flew in, and you're going to be flying out tomorrow or in the upcoming days. When the pilots of your plane, they have to do certain preparations before they're allowed to leave while they're planning the flight. And if you want to get an idea of what they're looking at, all the weather starts with weather stations like this at every airport and certain areas around the country. These weather stations have sensors like temperature, various types of precipitation sensors, and of course, the best thing of all, friggin' laser beams. We all love laser beams. What these generate is textual data, and textual data we have plenty of. Python is great dealing with text. So the first thing that we can do is we can identify some information that we don't really need to care about. That's KPIT is the code for Pittsburgh International Airport, and we can also get rid of this remarks section. We don't really need it for this analysis. So we can go down the list. The first is time. This does a basic transform. Zulu is UTC, and that turns into today at about 2:51. The next one is various components of the wind, including wind direction, speed, and optionally if there's any gusting going on. This one is pretty decent depending on which runway you're going to be taking off of. We also have visibility, which is very important for certain regulatory issues. We have cloud layers that can be broken down into a layer stack in feet above ground level. We have temperature and dew point information, as well as the altimeter setting. It's a pressure setting that the pilots will dial into their instruments that tells them exactly how high the plane is. And if you know anything about weather, the pressure varies based on how high the atmosphere is at any given point. We can look at two of these, the two most important ones being visibility and the lowest cloud layer, to determine if we are okay to fly and if we can legally fly based on the weather conditions. This particular one, these values don't go any higher than 10 statute miles in the United States. And this scattered at 4,200 feet is well above the 1,000 feet necessary to keep us in VFR or visual flight rules. As we go down this VFR, MVFR, IFR, and low IFR, the conditions become way more hostile to your safety. At the same time, I wanted to look at another airport about somewhere in the Midwest when I was putting this together. The time is roughly the same. It's about an hour later. However, there's a couple of concerning details in this particular report. I'm going to highlight the wind first of all. We have gusts of up to 39 knots. That's about 30 miles per hour. It's a little fuzzy, but it's going from 7 up to a major gust, which can blow your plane off the center line of the runway, and it's even more dangerous for small planes. We also have variable wind direction going from the north to just beyond the east. We have also this plus TSRA, which means a very heavy thunderstorm is near the airport. And finally, we have complete overcast skies only 200 feet above the airport. This puts it squarely into the low IFR category, which means myself, at my current rating, I am legally not allowed to fly in or out of this airport. And honestly, your pilot would just wait to fly to let this conditions pass. If you are interested in taking a look at some of this for your plane flights coming up, I also make a library called AVWX that is able to pull in this information and parse it for you. So I ran this at the time that I pulled that report and said that Pittsburgh International Airport is currently VFR. If any of this is of interest to you, there's an open space tomorrow at 10 a.m. in room 316, not just for pilots. If you are interested in aviation at all, if you have a career or are interested in a career in aviation, whether that's piloting, maintenance, weather, fleet management, etc., come join us. And here's how you can get more information about it. Pip install is a little bit different. You can get more information at engine.av@wx.rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Michael. It was very interesting things. Who here owns a microcontroller? Raise your hand if you own any model of microcontroller. Now, keep it up, that you are currently using it. Yeah, I know, I have a box full of it. But Marcelo will solve some of our problems by telling us one of the applications that looks very interesting. So let's welcome Marcelo to the stage.
Hi, I'm Marcelo Elizeche Landó. I'm from the Python Paraguay community. Just for reference, this is Paraguay. It's the size of California. The TLD is .py, but you can't buy just a .py. But well, I'm going to talk about the AireLib.re project, that is a network of air quality sensors. So this project started in 2019. There weren't any official government air quality sensors. And we have like forest fires, we have a lot of clandestine emissions, garbage burning, and no control from the government. So just for reference, this was last year, something like that. So the air quality was really bad. I think this was from the Amazonas burning and some part of Bolivia, I think. So the motivation was to basically to respond this question, like it's healthier to go for a run or it's healthier to stay home. And well, with this project, we aim for that. But we also have like I will say like a second motivation. This is a case of spy-driven development. This was the alternative title of this talk, but yeah, I wanted to be accepted. So, basically at that time there was somebody that wanted to sell the government sensors for 60. It was some sensor that cost in Amazon like $60, and he wanted to sell for $5,000 or something. So we took that personally and we did it for free. Yeah. So, thank you. What is AireLib.re? AireLib.re is a community and a network of sensors. This is like what the difference from other initiatives. Wink, wink. We are a community. Everything is open, like the data, also the firmware and everything. So what is our hardware? We use plant power, high precision laser dust sensor module, an ESP8266, and it costs basically 25 to 30 US dollars. I need to speed up this. So yeah, this is some graph. This is the the repo. And yeah, well, the backend is done with Fast API, and the backend is named Linka, because Linka was the Planeteer of the Wind. And this is weird because, like, in a few talks ago, like, we have another Captain Planet reference. So I just had to make this meme 10 minutes ago. Well, this is a website. It's AireLib.re. It's AireLib.re. And yeah, this is how the website looks. You have like some slider for the history data. We have, yeah, obviously dark mode. We have some bots in Mastodon, Twitter, and Blue Sky. Everything is open source. This is how it looks in Blue Sky. This is the sensor, basically. It's plain simple. And well, a good thing that we had some, after a few years, we had a sponsorship from Mozilla, and we did a workshop so people can build their own sensors. And thanks to that, yeah, it was, yeah, there are people building the sensor, and it's really fun. And, you know, soldering probably is the, the funniest way to get a third-degree burn, but yeah. And well, so now a little about the future of the project is that, yeah, we at this moment I think we have something like 60 sensors, or I don't remember exactly how many were online like right now. But yeah, the good thing is it's cheap, and yeah, the idea is to keep growing. And this is something that anyone can implement. Everything is open source, like the firmware. The website, and everything. So, yep, thank you.
Thanks, Marcelo. Hey, this here is Peter. Peter has already appeared on one of the screens in this room today. And it says that Peter is going to tell us how to keep the audience off of their phones. I'll believe it when I see it.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Hello, PyCon. So, you want to give a talk, do you? I'm going to tell you 5 ways to keep your audience off of their phones. First off, let me introduce myself. My name's Peter Sobot. This is what I look like. This is my 10th time speaking at a Python conference in general, not at PyCon specifically. You may have seen me speak yesterday about music software, but for the next 4 minutes, I'm going to be telling you how to keep the audience off your phones, and I'll be keeping an eye out to see if anybody's on their phones right now. So I'll be talking about 5 concepts here. First off, be engaging. Second, be loud. Third, be big. Fourth, be prepared. And fifth, be considerate. Now, all 5 of these start with B, so it's hard to remember this, but we can take the second letter that we're looking at there and make a little acronym out of this. So if you ever want to remember this, just remember, very simple. Let's start right along here with number 1, be engaging. So start with being engaging by introducing yourself. That's what I did up top. That's what many of the other Lightning Talk speakers did. Then introduce your topic. Talk about what you're going to be talking about. Give people a quick overview of why you know about this topic to begin with. Then finally, get to the point. Actually dive in and explain the topic itself. Your audience probably doesn't know about the problem that you're solving, so you should use a classic story structure like this. Start with an exposition, some context, rising action, tell them all the different things you had to do, get to the climax, to the point of what you're talking about, and then have some resolution at the end, a little conclusion, some extra slides there. But make your audience familiar with the problem before showing them your solution, right? They have no reason to care if they don't know why the problem exists or why they might have that problem themselves. Another tip to be engaging is to use presentation software, like Keynote, which I'm using here. It's my favorite, but you can use any presentation software that you like as long as you know how to use it. One thing that I like to do is use Keynote's transitions to enforce a concept called object constancy. That's where the objects on the screen don't leave and come back. They move around. And I do that with a feature here called Magic Move, which you can see right there in the sidebar in Keynote. One other thing about presentation software, often people avoid using certain features because they find them obnoxious, but even obnoxious transitions can be useful for a dramatic effect. So always use the right thing at the right time. Number 2, you should be loud. What I'm holding in my hand right here is called a microphone. You might have seen it before. It's got a couple components. It's got this pop filter up top. It's got a capsule inside that captures my voice. It's got a body that I'm holding onto. What you should do is just like this. You should speak into the microphone, close to your mouth, like that. That is good. You should also, if you want to, you could hold it down here like this. It's a little bit less effective. And also if you exhale, you can hear that. So maybe not as often, but you shouldn't hold it far away. You shouldn't do this. This is bad. This is bad. You don't do that. You hold it very close to your mouth, and then everybody can hear you. And if you feel like you're being too loud, well, our wonderful AV folks will just turn you down. So don't worry about that at all. Tip number 3 is be big. Make sure that you use big text on your slides. Here's a bunch of bullet points that I put on this slide. These are the things that I actually want to talk about. If you can read those, more power to you. I'd actually be quite impressed. But it doesn't matter, because you shouldn't have that on your slides. All text should be at least 60 points in size on your slides, if not bigger. This text here is 60 points. And then this text here is 120 points. This text is 240 points. Basically, don't waste a single pixel if you can avoid it. You've got all that space up there. But also, don't waste pixels on showing me the window Chrome of your editor, of your Keynote or PowerPoint or whatever it is. I'm going to be looking at the next slides that are coming up there, and that's not really useful. That's a distraction. You can also decide not to show any slides at all. I'm not showing anything right now, and I'm doing that intentionally so you listen to what I'm saying and you don't pay attention to what's happening on screen, maybe just the previous slide. I hope you're listening to the words that I'm saying right now instead of being distracted by the last slide that was on the screen. And one last thing, don't forget to turn on Do Not Disturb, or else this might happen. That does happen. It's very common. 2 more very quick things. Be prepared if you want to give a demo. You can open a terminal. You can start typing in your terminal. It's actually very easy to do that. But live demos go wrong all the time, so fake them. Just put that in your Keynote software. Whoop. And even Keynote can fail sometimes too. And one last thing, be considerate of your audience's time. Make sure you know how you're going to spend every minute or every second of your entire talk. If you waste 1 second of your audience's time and you have 60 people in the audience, that's 1 minute of total wasted time. 5 seconds, well, that's 5 minutes of wasted time. If you have a larger audience like this, which I'm very lucky to have today, that's 10 seconds times 240 audience members, that's 40 minutes of wasted time. So make sure every second counts on stage. And with that, be engaging, be loud, be big, be prepared, be considerate, and thank you so much, PyCon.
Thank you very much. Very insightful talk. So the next talk is very familiar to many of us. How many of you get angry sometimes when you see code that you don't like? How many of you get happy when you see code? Oh, less hands. Well, that's disappointed. But Sophia will give us maybe an overview of how emotions can be interpreted in their code. So let's give Sophia a warm welcome applause.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, my fellow Pythonic poets. How are you doing today? Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about the art in our code, basically the emotions and how they reflect in the code that we write. And I think there's no better way to start this off than with this quote by Gustav Flaubert that says, "There's not an article of life that does not bear poetry within it." So as we begin, I want to ask you a question. Code. What do you think of when you think of this word? Maybe you think of applications and programs, or services and APIs. Maybe you're thinking of that big project that you're working on, or maybe you're thinking of ML and AI and how it might replace your jobs one day. It won't, but anyway. So code can represent many and more of these things, but there's something else that I think you might not be thinking about when you think of code. Today, I want to invite you to go on a small journey with me past the technological and mathematical of what we do. I'm going to take you on a sojourn past the scientific and strike deep into the heart of the humanities. Today, we're going to be talking about how art is reflected in our code, and specifically how when we write code, our emotions play a part in that. How many of you have seen this? A few people? Okay, cool. So this is what's called the emotion wheel. It's a tool that you can use to identify what emotion you're feeling. So today I'm feeling a bit happy. I'm feeling that, yay, I'm standing up here talking in front of all of you. And then what else am I feeling? Well, because I'm feeling happy, I'm also feeling accepted because I got accepted to do this talk. And that makes me feel respected. So that's kind of how you use this wheel. And so what I've done is I asked an artist model today. We're going to call them the poet to basically, as they write their code, describe their emotions that they were feeling. And so we're going to take a look at a few of those today. So a few things I want to call out is that they are a Python developer. They are going to remain anonymous using they, them pronouns. And the snippets of code have been, of course, sanitized, so that way we're not going to get any identifying marks or trade secrets for them. So when we look at these code snippets, I want you to ask yourself the following. What do you feel or what do you notice about this code? What problems can you see? But most importantly, I want you to ask yourself, how does this code make you feel when you see it? So I'm going to give you a quick second to look at this. All right, so what might you be feeling when you feel this code? Well, we're going to call this one our sterile baseline. This is basically code that was created for educational purpose. They were writing it as a tutorial. It's clean and well organized, as we can tell. We have descriptive names, and we also have comments in our code, as well as logistical white spacing. And there's no major flaws. This to me invokes calm, collected patience. What about this snippet? Go ahead, take a moment, read it. Our poet was feeling unfocused. So as they were feeling unfocused, they started to make a lot of mistakes in this code. As you can see that there's an impossible assert on the last line. There's unnecessary instantiation that they never use again. No documentation. And so when I look at this, I'm like, oh man, this invokes like they were bored. They were feeling very apathetic about their code. What about this piece? This piece, they were feeling infuriated. And you can tell because of just how badly written this code is. There's no clear naming conventions. It's kind of all over the place. What the heck does CC calls do? Who knows? And so when you look at this code, for me, it's invoking frantic anxiety and frustration. I'm getting frustrated just looking at this snippet. I hope you are too. I'm going to go ahead and jump over this one real quick. This is just a piece where they were feeling hopeful, and one of the things that you'll notice is that they have some song lyrics written in here. It's very well written, and for me, this invokes hope and joy. So today I want to ask you just one last time, code, what does it mean to you? I hope I've given you a new synonym, art.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. So I have the great privilege of being on the board of the Python Software Foundation. We're the organization that puts on this here show and looks after the general health of the language and the community around it. KwonHan is also on the board. And I'm the person who wakes up at 6 a.m. for the board meetings, and KwonHan, who lives over in Seoul, is up at 11 p.m. until like 1 a.m. for the same board meetings. And you can tell by that he really cares about the community. And I'm always interested to hear what he has to say. So please welcome KwonHan.
Hi, I'm KwonHan from Python Software Foundation. There is a bagel. Just one bagel? Yeah. Is it just $1? Yeah, I have one bagel in my right hand. Yeah, you may not see that, but it's there or there will be. So, let's see what happens to one bagel. You donate a bagel's worth to the PSF. Yeah, the PSF collect the money from tons of people. They put in good news, spreading to when it returns. Somehow, out there, a kids got a shot at going to PyCon thanks to your help. Then they learn the Python, get a job, and start building their futures. Later on, they give back because they remember someone once gave a bagel to them. Another kids get inspired by their stories, and the Python communities keep growing. It's not instant. As you know, it takes time, but it works. Someone starts contribute to Python, someone else begins teaching Python to your local community. Another builds a new framework or library using Python. Someone starts translating docs because it can open doors for more people to come in. And someone kick open whole new communities. Yeah. So you can make donations through GitHub sponsors, this link, or become a supporting member of PyCon, buy a t-shirts from your community users, that helps too, or just spread the word. Oh, I can help out. Or do you need some hands to move boxes? I'm happy to help to find a new venue for the next meetup. Or I even give talks to my boss, sponsoring some bagels. Yeah, we are always hungry for bagels. So now, this one bagel made pre-threaded Python. Yeah, this one bagel made a diverse community, and this one bagel made one regional PyCon. It's true. How about now? It is just bagel? Yeah, thank you for supporting PSF.
Thank you very much, KwonHan, and thank you very much for all the work you do with the PSF board. Our next talk is something that is very dear to many people's hearts, which is a good thing maybe, or a bad thing, I don't know. But I will keep Mason to explain everything. So let's give Mason a warm applause.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mason Egger, and this is a story about my first programming job. So one of the things that we did in my first job was we created a custom security operating system for our product. Not going to go too much into that, but one of the interesting things about this product is that it took a very long time to build. On my local machine, it took about an hour, and our nightly build took roughly 8 hours to build. So during this build process, this comic was very much exactly what would happen. We would make up some of the worst ideas possible, and I believe that I found the exact worst idea ever, and I'm going to share it with you today. So we used to create programmer games, and today we're going to play one, which we lovingly call, is it Regex or is it line noise? And it is the game that no one ever wants to play. So a quick reminder for all of you, Regex, also known as regular expressions, are a sequence of characters that forms a search pattern, and it's used to match patterns within strings. And in Python, we use the RE model to figure these out. Line noise typically refers to random or meaningless characters that happens whenever there is noise in a signal and it is corruption within your data. Do you see where I'm going with this? Okay, so can you tell the difference? So the game here is I'm going to show you a string. You're going to tell me if it's regex or if it's line noise. This is audience participatory. You're just going to shout it out, and you're going to get bonus points if you can tell me what the regex match is. Also, these are valid regexes in Python because I had tested them in Python. I did not have the time to test them in every other regex because, of course, there is no standard. So let's do a practice round. Is this regex or line noise? Regex, of course it is. Matches, what does it match? One or more digits, correct. What about this one? Line noise, yes. We all good? Here we go. First one. Regex, what does it match? Social security number, someone got it. I feel bad for the people that can see these in their sleep, I really do. Next one. Line noise, incorrect. What about this? Line noise. What about this one? Regex. What is it? It's email addresses. Oh, good. It does work. So now we're already fighting with ourselves. Regex is doing its job. What's this? IP addresses, but they're not real IP addresses because this would not actually validate real ones. It only validates 3-digit characters. These are television IP addresses. So this will get you a job in Hollywood, but not in software. What about this? Line noise. Also, I forgot to tell you, these are just gonna get worse, and I apologize. No, I don't. What about this? Line noise. What is this? This is Regex. What does it match? This is a strong password. I really hope you didn't ever implement it this way, and if you did, I feel sorry for the code reviewer. What about this one? Line noise. Do we have any? Well, we don't really know. Like, we can tell if it's regex or not and it's not because we can test it. We're not even certain if this is really valid line noise even. Like, I assume it was what happened when the shark was chewing on the undersea cable. Like, I have no idea, but you never have to worry if it's valid regex or not, or if it's valid line noise or not. It will always and forever be valid Perl. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, and for our last lightning talk at the for our last lightning talk at PyCon, we have Mariatta. You know Mariatta.
Yeah. Woo! All right, thank you. You know, in human language, you can say thank you in so many ways. Like in my language, it's terima kasih, and then I know that in Spanish, like gracias or obrigada. There's so many ways to say thank you in human language. What about in Python? What is the Pythonic way to express your gratitude? Let me tell you how you can say thanks to Python people, and you wouldn't believe what number 5 is. Let's begin. Level 0, actually just say thanks to the person that's been helpful. And I put level 0 here, not because it's not important, but because we're programmers, right? We come from 0. And I know you're all doing this. This is super easy to do. Keep doing it. Level 1, level up. Say thanks in public. Don't keep things to yourself. Share the joy with your friends, your colleague, your network, their boss. By saying thanks in public, you're giving visibility to their work, the recognition they deserve. You're also helping to further amplify the impact of their contributions, helping their content reach even more audience, helping their tools and library be discovered and be seen and be used by more people. And maybe you're afraid to embarrass people, or maybe you're embarrassed yourself. Do not be embarrassed. Accomplishment is not a shame. It should be celebrated. Level 2, like and subscribe. Show that you're interested in their work, that you want them to continue, maintaining that library. You want them to continue giving more talks. You want them to put the next year's conference, whatever. Don't wait until they've done all of that. Don't wait until the end. Just show that you support them. You want to see them more of this. Subscribe to their newsletters, their blog, their YouTube channel. Follow them on social media. Show your interest. Level 3, contribute back and volunteer. Don't just use their library. Contribute back. Find their GitHub repo, check their contributing guide, learn the workflow, start contributing. And don't just attend conferences, meetup. Offer to help and volunteer. Help lessen their burden and responsibilities by helping them out so they can even continue doing even more great work. All right, level 4, it's getting harder. You don't have time to actually contribute or volunteer. Give them money. Sponsor your favorite open source maintainer on GitHub, Open Collective, Patreon, Coffee, PayPal. There are so many ways you can support open source maintainers. And if you couldn't find such info, or if they're not yet there, tell them about it. Say, how can I support you? Do you know about these programs? Get them signed up for it so that you can start sponsoring them. And if you have a favorite Python conference, events, meetup, check their sponsorship prospectus. Tell your employer to sponsor. Getting hard, level 5. This is the ultimate way on how you can say thanks to the Python community members who've done great work. You nominate them for awards, and there are so many awards in your community. Some of these awards even come with monetary reward. You don't have your own money to give, use other people's money. And people don't just magically receive this award. In order for them to receive this, somebody else needs to submit the nomination. It is just stronger if it comes from somebody else, if it comes from more people. And don't assume that somebody is doing great. Surely somebody's already been nominated, somebody already already received the award. This is the one biggest mistake I've seen, I've heard it over and over again. Everybody's thinking the same, nobody's nominating, nobody's getting the award. So, nominate people, go thank the Python people in this conference, organizers, speakers, volunteers. If you've been to conferences in other part of the world, organizers of Python conferences in Asia, Africa, Oceania, Europe, nominate them so that we can know about them, we can know about their contributions, and we can also appreciate the hard work that they've done. If you want to learn more on how to actually nominate people, I have a big list on how you can do this. Check my blog post. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mariatta, for that. And
thanks, Mariatta.
By the way, also thank you for all the things you do. I think you are one of the beating hearts of this community as well. So thank you for that. Another round of applause for Mariatta, please. Yes.
And as people from the PSF board, we thoroughly co-sign. Yet spend our money, nominate people for community service awards, nominate people for fellowships and distinguished service awards.
Very important, yes, do it.
That is the last of our lightning talks for tonight.